Hey!
Hey! Bye.
Man, it's like it's really weird, right? Because like after I go 3, 2, 1 every time, there's like this really long, uncomfortable pause while we're waiting for somebody to say "hey" first, right? And
I know.
And that gap has been getting longer and longer and longer. It's so cool. It's like starting Bodega Nights in 3, 2, 1, and then complete silence. And somebody goes, "Hey!"
Maybe next time we'll just pounce on it like 3, 2, 1. Hey!
Bodega Nights.
Like Bodega Nights in, hey! You know, like,
We're
Yes.
just too respectful of each other and don't want to step on each other's voices.
yeah,
Exactly.
Sure,
That's the thing about
that's the way.
podcasting, though. Like, because it's part of like this quote unquote new normal, right? Where it isn't considered bad manners to like talk over somebody because we all sort of accept that latency is a problem.
No.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do not accept that. Not at all. It is annoying.
Well,
It used to be, but now it isn't.
yeah, it's actually not
Now
as
that we have
bad as
fast enough internet.
it's not as bad as it used to be. But like, I remember the early days of Channel 14, man, when we were working with like 3 megabit like internet connections in 2012
Ouch.
or whatever. That wasn't
I've
3.
been...
About 5.
Wow.
And we were working with
remember
I'm still
5
working on
megabits.
3 megabit internet if I was back in Mandaluyong.
Right?
So I feel the pain, man. But again, I'm sorry. Welcome to Bodega Nights. This is a show where a bunch of friends get together every now and then, and this podcast makes sure it happens. Yes, I read the description on the link. My name is Martin. We got Joao, we got
Hey.
Norm, and we got Miko.
Hello.
Bodega Nights.
I don't remember single-digit internet speed anymore.
Yeah, man, that was the before times. This is actually before the before times. If we like, you know,
Those dark days. After
Yeah.
dial-up, though. But before the better times.
man, dial
This
up.
is why, yeah. Oh man, this
so
is
amazed
why
that people
when
so
I
often
have
have-
guesting a lot, yeah. That's why I don't
man.
have much guesting in the Philippines because I only have single bit connection Mbps.
Wait, in
And I can
Brazil?
do it now because of Brazilian internet is like 10 times faster,
Just like Corona.
which is ironic.
It's that 5G
times faster in Brazil.
towers.
It must be the 5G towers that's giving us a lot of cases that hits 2 million.
Yes.
Actually, I've been wondering about that thing there. Why is your internet that fast, but you have like bad connection when you try to join servers?
Ping, baby, ping.
Ah, yes, I know this man. What about him?
I mean, it's like
This man hinders us.
because Martin's on the other side of the world, but then we're talking a difference of milliseconds. But then, like when it comes to like inputs, right? Milliseconds can mean the difference between executing a frame perfect trick or not. You know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, heck, been gaming a lot online because, well, the situation. I know the difference between playing with like 60 ms, 90 ms, 150 ms, or 300 ms. Like, wow, as it goes past the 3 digits, you feel the slowness. But when you watch, it's like, I mean, that doesn't seem bad. Oh, you feel that sluggishness.
Right? It was when I first started playing emulated NES games, the sort of input lag or whatever that I would get because it wasn't running on CRT. It was really weird. I kept on like dying whenever I'd play Mario, and people were looking at me like, "What's wrong with this guy? He sucks, dude." And because of those extra few like
Oh my
milliseconds of, you know.
Yeah, I see where you're
Can't-
coming from.
You can't jump,
Especially for platformers where you kind of do like pixel perfect jumps.
yeah.
I mean,
so it was like
Mario's
oh.
not always pixel perfect, but there are some moments where if you mess up here, you die. And
Yeah,
is it the part
like-
without the checkpoint?
Mario on the NES.
Which one's that one? When it's a NES, that's Mario 1, right?
The
Mario
first
2.
one, yeah, the first one.
Classic.
The one where the piranha plant, and this is where the input lag would really get me, because in that first Mario game, the hitbox of the piranha plant wasn't the whole piranha plant; it was just like the stem.
Yeah.
Right. So
It was weird.
right. You could just jump through the plant essentially, But the thing is, if you're going to make that jump, you better make sure that you don't do it like too late, or too early. And that was the problem with the input lag. But
So why are you speed running Mario?
because it's fun, dude.
I mean, you're acting like it's a Sega.
Like
Just
it's
no,
a Sonic.
Nintendo. Actually, that's a funny thing. Sonic, which is a game you think is all about finishing the game fast, I feel like I finished like Mario games a little faster than Sonic games.
Yeah,
I don't know
God.
why. It feels faster for some weird reason. Like Sonic is fast, but it feels not actually fast. I don't know how to describe it.
Because Sonic had boss battles.
Oh yeah,
That-
like Mario
right,
didn't really
Sonic-
have much of that.
right, like-
Every third
Right.
stage.
Right, and the boss battle in Mario was just like finding, like either timing running across that bridge or jumping over the
And you could skip
thing.
it.
Yeah, and
yeah,
or you can
Mario-
do fire kill it. Was it the boss
You
battle?
can, you can
Sonic?
use the boss battle and Sonic. You have to you have to hit them 8 times to destroy it. It happens every third level. And yeah, if I remember correctly, there is no way to actually skip levels until you hit Sonic 3 where you could save. But before that, no, there was no way to skip a level unless you unlock the level select screen, which of course doesn't really count. Mario had that. Actually, you could skip levels. And before the movie The Wizard, did anyone know how to actually skip levels? Or is that only a thing because of that?
Probably.
What's the wizard?
You don't know The Wizard?
I might be too young.
Huh, really? Okay. The Wizards where he first called the Power Glove, where it was god awful, but somehow the movie made it seem cool. It's pretty much a big marketing campaign for Mario Brothers 3. And it had this kid who apparently really plays it well, and first time playing it, discovered where all the secrets were, because,
Whoa.
the power of friendship, I guess, or something? I wasn't really sure, but I think that's the first time everyone like, oh, so that's where you go to find that flute. Oh, the flute gives you a tornado. Yep, this makes sense. First time playing the game. He just sees through the code, like Neo.
Yeah, that's Mario 3 though, right? Like
Yeah.
the wizard was Mario 3.
Was it Mario Bros. 3? Or was it 2? 3, yeah, it was 3. It was because
3.
after it was World, yeah, okay, I'm mixing that up.
Yeah.
Before that, it was the warp zones, right? You had to find those things. Was it in 1 had that too, right? 1 had the warp zones, and 2...
Yep.
Which is the real 2 for you? Actually, I'm curious. Is it the weird American one, where it was the hidden levels thing, or the weird one that was like the Doki Doki Panic or something?
Growing up, it was it was the Doki Doki Panic skin. That was Mario 2 for me. Then eventually, when the SNES came out, that's when like I discovered that lost levels and reading on it and stuff. It's like, oh, this is what Mario 2 was in Japan. So. But yeah, to me, it was always the Doki Doki Panic skin.
I remember playing that one after Mario Brothers 3. It was so weird. I was wondering, why did they remove the mechanic of standing on things and just picking them up?
Yeah, man, that was so cool though. I actually really liked that second Mario game. It was the most unique out of all of them because it was a completely different game, just reskinned to be Mario, and that's where we got the
Birdo.
and Luigi being like athletic, like that whole meme
He
about
can jump
Luigi
higher, basically.
jumping higher, yeah.
And Peach being able to fly, like
Yeah.
temporarily.
But then that wasn't as what's it? That didn't have the same impact on Mario's canon as like
Luigi being
Luigi
different and not
being-
Green Mario.
yeah, Luigi being more athletic, right? Because that's
Mamma
something
mia.
that's sort of followed all the way through the Mario canon since that second Mario game, so that Mario 2 in the US. But yeah, to me that's been that
Okay.
was what Mario 2 was for me. But that original Japanese Mario 2 was really hard. Like the lost
Japan
levels,
games don't hold back punches. No, don't pull back punches. They will hurt you.
right? Like it was really hard, and the mechanics were too similar to the first one. I could kind of see where they were going with it, right? Like the power ups were essentially the same, you know.
So now that the internet knows how old we are,
Oh God!
let's talk about the first Atari.
I was
had the
today
first
years
Atari.
old. What?
Yeah, I had the 2600 and I had the 5200. I did not get the 7800, but I had the 2600, the 5200. I had the Commodore, but the one I really remember growing up with was the family computer, or what was known as the NES. In like
Famicom.
outside. Yeah, Famicom in Asia, NES in the US, and I think Europe. Was it called the Famicom in Europe? I know it wasn't
don't know.
called Famicom in the US because they had to rename it as the Nintendo Entertainment
NES,
System.
yeah.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they did that because they said if they called it family computer, it would not sell as well because it had bad connotations for some reason.
It did?
At least
seemed
that's
like
why I
it was-
remember as an explanation. Like they changed the name because family computer did not have the same connotation they wanted for people to see it as a gaming system. I don't understand
I
why
see.
not.
And NES
think-
is more, it rolls off the tongue more naturally.
Yeah. I have an idea. I have an idea because, like, during the time, a family computer could be confused in the West as, oh, you mean the one with the keyboard and this big ass monitor?
Oh yeah, like the
This
Commodore.
is not a Famicom, right? Like, I think that's one of the reasons it might confuse some people, like saying, okay, so can I print with this? Can I type my work with this? Oh, it's
Why
a
enough,
video game.
with
thing.
Nintendo, they actually had those weird peripherals. They actually had
my
the
God.
first peripheral for you to print a photo, I think, using the Game Boy? What was it? With the Game Boy camera?
I
think
don't
so, yeah.
remember, But
Game Boy.
like, the
It
peripheral
was.
that I remember from the SNES was there was a keyboard. It had a keyboard.
Keyboard?
Is that for Mario Type?
Oh,
I don't
I think
remember.
so. Yeah.
There was I just remember like a buddy of mine having this weird keyboard and playing. It was, I can't remember what the game was. It was like a music game or something.
And he was PC Master Race before all of us. You console plebs with your controllers. Keyboard is how you go.
He was decades advanced before the whole PC Master Race. Huh.
When did that happen, the PC Master Race? Because I remember consoles were pretty much king until like up towards the 1997, 1998. Consoles were pretty much king.
Yeah, I would like to think, but I'm not sure.
2000?
My theory is it was when cartridges stopped being a thing, right? When
I miss those.
right when the console became more like the computer,
Like the Xbox.
CD drive.
when they started
Yeah,
putting
the-
x86 chips in consoles. So
Yeah, I really think about the new consoles are like very like they're not. I won't say they're budget computers, but they are more computer than what they were at their initial like founding of what consoles were. Which yeah, it was the cartridges which had all the data and stored in them, or those. If you go really old with the analog ones, it had specific wiring. I think those like the Intellivision and the ColecoVision, which had cartridges that just changed up the wiring in the system to do something slightly different for the screen because graphics didn't exist. You had to stick an overlay over the TV.
yeah, I remember seeing pictures of those. Like, oh, that must have been really expensive back in the 80s.
Oh, it's crazy. Can you imagine losing one of those? Like, where's your graphics? It's gone. Dog ate my graphics.
Dog
They were
graphics,
what
yes.
was it? They were essentially like acetate, like
Yeah, and they stuck to the TV because of the static.
yeah.
And
Man,
they came in two sizes.
I just realized, right? Like, Norm was talking about us telling the internet how old we are, and that was another thing that just told the internet how old I was. Like, my frame of reference for the thing on the ColecoVision was those little acetate papers that people used to put in projectors, which like isn't a thing anymore.
Is it not?
It's an
still
obsolete
remember
device,
that.
dude.
Like, I don't know. Everybody seems to be using like some sort of.
Can you imagine kids' confusions when you tell them about Manila paper and doing presentations on it?
Yeah. Or,
Yes.
God.
or like transparent pieces of paper.
Yeah.
I hate those. That's hard to
I
do.
mean, we still had those in our university days. Was it that long ago?
I remember writing on the OHP paper with whiteboard marker just to update the presentation as it went along.
Wait, does that mean projectors are cheaper now?
Probably.
No.
Or, I don't know.
Still no.
Oh, God, I hate that.
It means that there's a higher DPI for projectors. The technology has advanced, so it's more HD. So it's more expensive.
Oh, not just that. Like, the cheap ones come with these really low lumens. So what can I do this? Well, if you use this in a perfectly dark room, it's kind of great.
Yeah, it's like perfect for night class.
Yeah.
Just make sure no one turns on the phone because it'll just like completely whitewash the screen immediately. Like, no, don't turn on any source of light. Don't turn on that watch light. It'll just burn out the entire screen. But hey, you can get them for like 2,000 pesos, I think. Those really like crazy cheap ones.
But
I gotta ask,
is the
though,
lumens
guys.
just from the one light?
Yeah.
Can you like rig it with an LED flashlight with higher lumens?
Yeah.
I feel like if you
That's-
can somehow figure that out, you probably wouldn't start with that system.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Wait, what are we? What projectors are we talking about?
Like
I have no
pocket
idea.
ones you can get for the laptops.
Right? Yeah, I think Norm is talking about the old school projectors that we used to have when we were in high school.
Oh,
HP?
those.
right?
Yeah.
And
The ones with the
It's the
upside
expensive
down mirror
ones.
light things. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
I don't know,
need to ask,
I
though,
don't know how
like,
much
for
those are,
that
but
one.
I'm pretty sure they're a lot cheaper now because nobody uses them, and they're
Or expensive.
There should be a bunch of secondhand ones like floating around.
Oh my
Oh,
god, we
talking
still
about
had those in
secondhand stuff.
university.
The sheer amount of computers that are available right now secondhand from all the net cafes that are closing.
Actually,
Yeah,
yeah.
dude.
Rest in peace.
I was like, oh my god, I can make a bit mining operation.
Yeah, dude, let's have like a Bitcoin thing
Coin.
going on, man.
Yes.
There's so many
Yes.
new things out there. And I'm wondering, that's cool. How does this work? How do I make sure I get my money? Because I still don't understand the concept of money that has no actual, like, real world value beyond what people say
It is.
Well, that's money.
True.
I mean, most cash except for I think the US dollar is the only one who doesn't have any more actual backing anymore. But I think ours isn't ours silver backed or gold backed?
I have no idea.
It should be gold backed.
Most countries are either silver or gold backed. The US is not silver backed anymore, I think, since the 20s or the 30s, somewhere around there.
So it's just
Because I
writing on
remember
debt.
back then you could actually have bills that said you can exchange this for its amount in silver. Then I know that was gone because of the Great Depression. And
No.
everyone else still had stuff. Like its
The
value.
US currency is backed by lead, Miko.
And oil.
It's
Lead
backed
and
by
oil.
Freedom!
Bullets.
Yeah. But it's belief I can
Hey.
hold.
Freedom and America.
Liberty!
Oh god, that reminds me that a couple of people who sold actual bitcoins and fooled people that they were actual bitcoins, like physical coins that had like the
The logo.
logo. Yeah, the logo. I was like, yeah, this is worth this much, and they were like just selling out at the time. Bitcoins were going crazy, and people thought they were actual coins. So there's so many scammers who literally made money by selling
Actual
literal
Bitcoin.
coins.
That's making money out of nothing.
About the same thing as actual Bitcoin.
Also, it's a scam.
I still don't get. I mean, I appreciate that there's a new form of currency to try to break things up and change things around, but I just can't wrap my head around I won't say fake currency, but a currency that is just purely ones and zeros.
They make, you know, the difference between the scam the scam coin that you were talking about and actual Bitcoin
What?
is connecting the physical coin to the virtual coin. That's the only difference. If you manage to actually create a link for Anchor for the physical coin towards a virtual coin, that's it.
That would actually be pretty cool. Like you pay,
That's actually
like, it's
become a
device.
physical currency.
It's like you scan with your phone. Like, there you
Yes.
go.
Now I have this one Bitcoin, but now you're gonna have to keep
apparently-
revalidating that you have that one Bitcoin.
wait. Apparently,
Every few months.
apparently, no currencies out there are gold standard anymore.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought it was still gold or silver standard.
Nope.
So wait, all our money is now make-believe?
Yeah. For the longest time, I've always understood our money to be just pieces
Backed
of
by
paper that we
reserves?
all agree has a certain value to it. Like the only thing that backs all of our sort of fiat currencies, our collective delusion that this blue piece of paper is worth more than this orange piece of paper.
Well, we're going to find out once all the economies crash.
Right?
Hey,
So,
if
I don't
the
know.
economies crash, at least we still have Tinder.
Wait, what?
Paper money can at least be used as Tinder because the Bitcoin can't.
Oh.
I heard that differently. I was like, how is a dating app?
I know.
the world may
Currency.
fall apart, but we still have the hookup app.
But my ability to pull up hose is going to get me rich.
Hey, you gotta keep that OnlyFans running, man.
Radio Norm, now on OnlyFans.
No.
NSFW version.
Who's that?
No. It's gonna be like saxophones.
Yes.
You know, I actually really like the idea of Bitcoin. Like, I like as a technology, it's pretty cool.
I'll agree to that. I just don't understand it for the life of me.
As a currency.
That's a
It's
currency,
so
yeah.
confusing because at least for the all, like, okay, so I'll take it that no currency at this point is back, but it does have the history that we place value to it because of that, and we just continue to believe it's still worth this. With the Bitcoin, there really isn't any long history. I mean, it's quote-unquote long because it's internet history, but it hasn't existed long enough for people just to believe it's worth this much. Because remember, the first item they bought was a pizza, which, how much is it worth now with the inflation?
Yeah, I mean, it's the
Like millions of dollars or something?
the
A shit ton of
inherent
pizzas.
the thing that gives Bitcoin quote unquote its value is also, I think, the thing that makes it quite dangerous. The fact that there's a finite number of Bitcoin, right?
Even that
So-
one, how does that work? How is it finite, but there's minors?
Think of it like the longest and worst math exam ever.
Yeah.
Right? And every time a computer manages to solve a math problem, out comes a Bitcoin.
But math is infinite.
Yeah, they have a set number of questions. That's why I said it's a test.
Who made the
Oh.
questions?
No idea. But that's it. It is decrypting hashes or something like that.
But
And-
someone has to have made the hashes, so... Huh.
Yeah.
Right.
The idea is there is a finite number of things that your computer has to figure out.
Okay,
And-
so the upper limit is the processing power of computers.
yes.
So it's not like we just made a million questions. It's, look, the questions are infinite, but computer power can only go this far. At that point, it just kills itself.
Oh my god.
No. There is a finite number of Bitcoin. There is a finite number of Bitcoin, and the way it's set up is how do we put this? The closer we are to answering all of those math questions, the harder the questions will get. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can
Kinda.
understand. It's
Right,
how
so-
weird how math gave birth to this.
Yes.
So that's the thing that gives Bitcoin its value. The belief in the finite number of Bitcoin, right? In the same way that the gold standard sort of gave value was the belief that gold is finite. So there is that
Until we start mining the asteroids.
right. So there's that parallel there with gold. But
Elon Musk needs his gold throne.
the problem with Bitcoin, another problem with Bitcoin is it wouldn't incentivize people to actually use it as a currency
Yeah.
because it is finite.
And it's so volatile in value.
Exactly. Like,
I mean, like-
it's just even now, man.
No, it could stabilize, I guess. Like, you know, it could stabilize, but the problem is because there is no like Fed that can just print money. People will be incentivized to hold on to every Bitcoin that they have because it will forever rise in value because it is limited.
But if someone, let's say, has a good chunk of Bitcoin, let's say it owns, for some reason, 10 or 12% of the Bitcoin, and all of a sudden he decides to just sell it all, wouldn't that just drop the value just overnight?
Yeah, that would. But
Be like the run of the banks, like everyone just like starts selling it crazy, and you just end up with nothing.
yeah, with nothing. But the idea there is until that time comes, nobody's going to want to spend it as a currency, which is kind of self-defeating, and that's the difficulty with Bitcoin. It's very hard to want to spend Bitcoin because of its consistent rising in value.
Like that pizza.
Right? So I don't know. But I love the idea of a Bitcoin.
Oh no, I really love its entire concept and how it goes. It's such a sci-fi-ish thing to me, and it's just cool. But that in actual reality, I'm just, how do I make you work for me? Like, I can't imagine like paying workers in Bitcoin. I can't imagine going to a grocery and paying with Bitcoin.
Well, the thing is, it would be similar to what we're kind of doing now. At least the people that are sort of all in on the whole Gcash Pay Maya sort of fintech.
So I'm so glad that thing isn't getting really popular now because, pandemic, they don't want to hold actual cash. I'm so happy that's becoming popular.
Right?
Not the pandemic, but, it's all cashless payment.
And I suppose the vision of like Bitcoin was to function in that manner. It's just that people weren't like not having it backed by a government, which is kind of the problem with fiat currency. But
well, it's also because it's familiar. It's something that people feel safer and more secure because it makes sense to them.
Yeah.
I appreciate the shift in technology and the improvement, but it's also that the getting people adopted has always been the issue for any form of technology.
Well, there's also the problem that like your Gcash and your PayMayas are just slow as dude. Like, I hate it. Oh my god. Like, it feels really bad. It feels really bad when I have to pay, like, using one of those apps. Like, I can feel myself holding up the line. That's just a terrible feeling.
Yep. It's not like, I think it was it the Apple Wallet my friend used? That was interesting. You just kind of like quickly scanned it at the counter and it was done.
Yeah. Yeah, like a lot of credit cards also have that as well, right? Like if you have like a chip and pin card.
Yeah, it's just kind of like tap it and it's done.
A lot of
I love that when I was in Japan, where you can just tap stuff and it's paid, and it's like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
And then you get home and you see the credit card bill and you're like, how?
Oh my god.
How did that happen?
That's probably also one thing that makes me spend more with those things. It isn't just I don't know how much I end up spending, but with actual like physical money and coins, I have this bad habit that I want it to be like round numbers or like perfect things. I don't like having like extra cents or getting coins. I just want it to be as perfect figures. But when it's cashless, I don't care. Oh, this thing's like something 83 cents. Sure, here, scan it. I don't have to deal with that. Wait.
There's also that thing about like when you give cash, you feel the value that you're losing.
Oh yeah, just like slipping away, like no.
Right, but then when you pay using like a card or one of those like apps, it doesn't feel so bad, you know.
Oh, I really feel that my online orders, like when I pay for something, like when I buy like a physical game from the store, like, oh, I feel these, like, you just toss away the bills, like, oh, that hurt a little bit. But when you're online, you probably spend like 6 times more maybe, or like 3 times more. It's like, yeah, okay, book, purchase.
Man, the amount of money that Blizzard Entertainment has gotten from me. Yeah.
Oh, they have a good bit of my money because of I don't know I guess it's them and Activision because of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Oh, COD, yeah.
Man, for me, the amount of money that I've thrown at Hearthstone is terrible.
Oh,
my God.
You're in that. Oh, okay.
Joao,
Yeah,
I gotta ask you, were you watching that Hearthstone event like 11 hours or 12 hours ago? I saw it on my Facebook feed. There was some competition happening.
Yeah,
I have no clue.
I usually
It was a random thing.
I usually watch them like a day after. Which
Oh,
really sucks
when-
because like I get spoiled sometimes. But you know,
AKG Games Philippines was live like a few hours ago, casted by Leo Gia Excelsior. Today's match was the semifinals matches of Aussie WCG versus Tope. I don't know who these guys are. And Patrick 07 and Mad Doom. Any player names that are familiar to you?
No, not for me.
I've
Okay.
never heard of these people in my entire life.
Me too.
Probably make more than I do, though.
I only know the one caster who I thought was
Filipino-
Daily.
the Filipino Hearthstone players are. Who's the really big one? Is a guy by the name that calls himself Staz.
Styles.
Staz.
Styles.
Another dude by the name that goes by Waning Moon. He's also like one of the sort of godfathers of Filipino Hearthstone. And then of course
Staz and
like
Moon.
Gia. So those are like the pillars of Philippine Hearthstone.
Right.
Can you imagine most of our sports are going to be focused on esports because we can't play actual physical
I mean, I
games?
like to think golf must still exist somehow.
Yeah, same golf or,
Like
or
the
The
golf,
powers that be will figure it out.
Singles, tennis.
lawn darting.
Is that a sport?
Marble
I
racing.
have no idea.
We have
Marble
one
racing
darting in
is
the
awesome.
Philippines.
Marble racing is amazing. Oh my god.
Polo,
I'm
because
so
we have a
glad
polo
I
club.
can't actually bet on that stuff because, oh god, like, no, let's go win.
You guys,
Mia,
have you guys, Norm and Martin, have you guys watched Yella's Marble Runs?
Yes, those are amazing.
Right?
The commentary is amazing. It really makes the sport.
It's like cruelty-free horse racing.
ooh, yay! Peter would love that.
Yep,
And
it's
like
got more
they
balls than them.
They actually got, what's it? They actually got like, F1 to like partner with them for
What?
one of their- Yeah,
Nice.
they have,
I
they
want
had
to
an
see like an F1 sponsored like super like speedy ball. Like they're just gonna send that
Yes.
thing through a wind tunnel. We've designed the most aerodynamic sphere ever, but it's a sphere. No, this sphere is even better than
It
the
has the
usual.
F1 on it.
look up Marbulo 1.
Marbulo 1.
It's amazing.
Doing it now because I have two laptops on.
Oh my god.
They
Okay.
got Cravendale to sponsor them. They got Last Week Tonight. Like, oh my god, dude.
I love the featurette on Last Week Tonight. That was amazing.
Okay. Speaking of streamed or live games that may or may not be e-sports, will media finally call them e-sports and not e-gaming? Or them being e-sports casters and not e-casters? Because one of my friends got interviewed and his username is DaxCast. But during the interview in a Tagalog setting, he was being called as Dax. And Dax has a connotation during the whole interview. And he was like, no, it's DaxCast. Oo nga, kamusta naman dito, Dax? Sa...
That's
and he's
also
being
one
called
thing I find.
e-caster?
That's also one thing I really find interesting about like the latest generation of gamers, where once we left the couch gaming scene and pretty much went fully online, we really just became our online handle as our names.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why he added cast so he wouldn't be called just the D word.
It's really funny how before, if you just... Yeah, I mean, lots of my friends actually think about it. I literally call them by their online handle, even if I know their actual names.
Yeah.
But going back to a very old episode, like remember that show in the one that streamed the Quake Tree? We didn't know the guy's real name. We only know his handle before.
Yeah, but I mean,
That
that
guy.
shows a branding thing, but now it's not even big companies. It's purely just your friends, and you're just so used to
Yeah.
their online handle.
Yeah.
Like Happy
God.
Dead Fish.
Yeah, like Happy Dead
Oh,
Fish.
yeah, Happy Dead Fish. I mean, he knows his actual name, but it's Happy Dead Fish.
And like,
I mean, I know he
really-
matured when he used his actual name, but...
His actual name is actually shorter than his handle, but we know him as his handle.
Yep. It's like those moments they're like, yeah, it's kind of weird, but it's like the online handles, no matter how weird they can be, like there can be numbers, but we still go with it. Like, yeah. Like, oh, that's my friend, like, Stan67.
Right, like before he died, I distinctly remember this one time that we were somewhere in school and Grant tried to call my attention and he didn't use my name. He used my
douche.
name. And I was like, oh my god. And I knew exactly that. I knew that he was looking at, I knew that he was like calling me. People like looked at him like, you're calling a douche. I'm like, hey man.
Wait, what's his name again?
His one guy just responds to being called a jerk.
I think Grant's name was just Grant, wasn't it?
No, it was something else. God. I only remember Norm as that guy.
Do you remember what Grant's name was, that guy?
Yeah.
No, it's been so long.
Because I know Mike is good child.
Yeah.
I interswitch a lot of names, so I
I
wouldn't
just remember
know
your
mine.
Sven.
Yeah, Sven.
Oh yeah, I settled on that. But usually
Then
I switch names.
And Spaceman. Can't
Space-
forget
oh,
that
yeah,
one.
that's Shima?
Yep.
Spaceman. Yeah, Spaceman.
Wolf.
Wolf is you know who? Yeah, the John.
But then who? What was Grant's name? My God,
Oh my God!
We don't have a
know
screenshot.
I cannot
You're
remember.
so hidden, we don't even remember his name.
God damn! But I know it wasn't Grant. It was something.
Yeah, was it?
Whatever it was.
Is it Ninja?
You know,
No,
when
it's
you
not
finally
Ninja.
saw it, you died.
Yes, that's.
It's too late.
Like
I
you
don't
just
understand how his Splinter
respawn.
Cells, the Splinter Cell skills he had, somehow translate to Call of Duty.
I know I'm good at Splinter Cell, but I suck at Call of Duty. What kind of
really
run
enjoyed
does
that
he
game.
do?
I was like, I don't get it. It's a different genre. It's a different setup, but somehow he does it and it works.
I have an excuse. I can't see. I can't see the stuff that's directly in front of me.
Wait, aren't you a sniper?
He has to watch.
Every time Grant would get me was like
Right
when I
in
was
front of his
moving
face.
from one position to another, right? As you guys were like moving up, like the sniper moves up along with the rest of the team, right?
Yep.
So it can cover the area. And when Grant was doing his like whole ninja thing, like when I'm moving around, I don't expect anybody to be like in front of me, right? So I always look
At the peripherals
to
and things.
to the back. Like I literally ignore everything that's like right in front of me, quote unquote, when I'm playing an FPS. And it is so weird. Like Grant just pops up, knives, and I'm like, I didn't see that. Or like anybody actually, and anybody for that matter, because of the whole sniper thing.
Like, I remember time there where we had the UAV out. It was me and Wolf going into the room. Like, okay, he's in this room. There's only two ways in. Wolf goes through one entrance. I go through the other. We just grenade like, ha!
I
Wait,
remember that.
where is
You
he?
dead.
He's like, I'm staring at him. He's staring at me like, what? Then I just like drop, and then he drops. Like, I don't understand what happened. It was so weird. Like he bust into the room, check around. We banged. We used the flashbang and everything. Like I almost said something a little off.
Oh man, how did that? What?
I don't understand. It's just like
And he was just in one corner.
ironic. Back. Like what happened here?
Yeah, what the hell happened?
The only way I found out to counter Grant was hiding my C4 on the ceiling. No one ever looks up there.
So I dropped. I put it in the group chat. Like, what was Grant's?
Yeah,
call?
what was his?
Because like
Is it
I
one of
don't
his,
know, maybe like Butters will remember Ag.
Butters?
Remember.
No, Butters is Bach.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right?
well, that's what I was saying. Maybe Butters will remember.
See what you did there.
Butterscotch.
Yeah.
Was it? No, it was like Good Child and someone else. I remember when we played Battlefield, like Point of Existence, they drove up to the enemy with a jeep full of C4.
That was me.
Ah, okay. I still don't understand why both of you had to be in the jeep.
It would have been more fun to do it. We were. I was thinking, maybe there's like some sort of range mechanic to the radio. for the C4.
Yeah, I'd like to think the radio should work at least a kilometer away, not like, well, I'm past 40 meters. This is not going to work anymore.
Well, you've seen how Good Child plays. I was like, you gotta make sure he's actually hitting the right place.
I still remember I was like sniping them. I was like, so oh, like, Good Child, that guy's going up there. Like, what are they planning to do? There's so many of them. They're in the middle of it. Boom! Well, that killed a lot of people. Then, like, 10 seconds later, everyone just respawns because that's their spawn point. Like, that was a nice, like, bit of calm for like 10 seconds.
Everybody can figure out what just happened.
Oh god! But yeah, the current thing where you just can call each other's friends, especially like friends you might just know from online gaming, they are just their handle.
I mean, can you imagine like computer shops are going to be a dead industry now?
But hey, somewhere out there now they're just
Except
like,
for the fact that some people use it for distance learning. But even then, that's risky.
Way too risky because it's just public.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping though that the situation just makes the ISPs here just improve their infrastructure. Though I feel like they're just like, well, who are you going to go to if not us?
China.
You want some Huawei internet?
China in the back waiting, just waiting for the right opportunity.
You want some bit rates?
Hey kid, heard you want to learn.
Gosh, that is the thing there that they really the pandemic really changed up the things to how people now see the need for better internet services, better systems, and it completely messed with the cost of RAM. Oh my god!
Really?
8 gig RAM is so expensive now. It is
Why?
cheaper for me to get 16 gig RAM or 32 gig RAM, really.
For laptops.
Because
they don't
everyone
wanna-
says that for your computer for online classes, almost every single person I saw recommends 8 gig RAM.
Yeah.
And when lots of people purchase, like parents or someone, they don't really ask beyond the specs. Like, hey, these are the specs I need. I need this. How much is this? Okay, here's your money. And so there's this just massive demand for 8 gig RAM. Where you can get 16 gig RAM or 32 gig RAM much cheaper. Like, I saw sales where I could buy 16 gig RAM, 2 8 gig sticks, more than the 2 4 gig sticks. Like, I can get this for almost like 3,000 pesos cheaper. Like, what?
I don't get it.
But I get because no one just asks, like, hey,
Supply and demand, Martin.
Yep, and no one really just asks it, oh, I need this is the specs the school said, or this is what the specs they said, and people say, hey, do you want to just make the 16? No, that's fine, just make it 8. And they probably don't even bother checking if another source might be cheaper.
That's odd.
I mean, there was a wild purchase for webcams, microphones, laptops. There was a good time that webcams were insanely expensive. Or sometimes just completely devoid in the market. Like, I remember back in the day where you could find a webcam in almost any shop. Now just all that's left are like the higher end Logitechs, which are I think over 11K.
The streamer Logitechs.
Yeah, like the 920s, 922s, but the Brio. But even those, like, the only reason you're not sold out is you're just a little beyond most people's price ranges.
Yep.
I see.
If I may, I want to like go back to that. Go back to the whole like the internet infrastructure being built out.
Here we go.
It's interesting. It is so interesting that we're finally getting some sort of competition for the big two.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know they've been around in Manila for a while, but Converge ICT, or, well, not Converge, but what are they called?
Yeah, that's Converge ICT.
Yeah, Converge ICT. Like, they're planning a huge expansion because they're gearing up for an IPO.
Oh, the initial, yeah.
Right? So they're fundraising or they're going to be doing their fundraising by going public, which means they're looking to expand their network.
That might be a nice investment.
Which is a couple of interesting IPOs going on now. Mary Mart just had an IPO. Converge ICT. There is like a bunch of real estate investment trusts are like coming into the market. A couple of real estate investment trusts are coming into the market. But Converge ICT is gearing up for an IPO. So that should present at least some competition to like Smart and Globe. Like I remember when Converge first came out in Manila, all of a sudden PLDT's offerings became a little bit better. And and this is another like fairly unpopular opinion because of how tied it is to the Duterte administration and to China. But I really like the idea of the liberalization of our telcos, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, I want to have more competition.
Right, and
more competition equals better rates.
it was. I'm a really big fan of that law that they that Congress came up with. But I mean, it was framed, of course, by like it was framed by the Facebook circles that I run in as Congress kowtowing to China because China Telecom has a ton of money ready to throw into the Philippines when this law is passed. But the liberalization, I guess we can call it, of the telcos by removing by allowing larger percentage of foreign ownership is something that should, in theory, make Smart and Globe better. And,
yeah.
You know,
especially these are people who will not play ball with them because right now, I mean, it feels like Smart and Globe essentially play ball with each other. They will not go this way if you don't go this way, and they have this weird understanding.
Yeah.
With this third party coming in, they won't play the same way. Like, no, we're gonna go this way. Why? But we should do it this way. Nah. If I do it this way, I can remove one of you at the very least.
Right. So we get what's his name? Duterte crony that owns Ditto Telecom. Or Ditto Telecom, Dennis Uy, right? Dennis Uy partnering with China Telecom, coming in, and Ditto Telecommunity or whatever the hell that is. They're supposed to launch like next year, which is going to bring a third telco into play, and I hope to God that this forces Globe and Smart to get their together, and I hope to God that the smart people on the internet are going to be like, this is competition, it's good for Globe and Smart, and not keep on saying like China.
At this point, for me, it's not that. It's just pure business. I don't think the politics in that will play in too much there. It's just you need to break the control of these two big players. Attack the two only real players.
Right, so
at the very least, I'm hoping
for.
If they don't improve their services, they drop their rates considerably.
Right, and if it's going to, and this is so bad, right? Is it going to take China Telecom coming into the Philippines in order for Smart and Globe to get their together?
Honestly,
Maybe.
I have to wonder why
feeling.
we don't have a government option. Like, we should.
No, we shouldn't.
No, I'll be honest. I'd rather not.
No. Nope.
Hell no.
Throwing it out there.
No.
I mean, I get the concept of like creating a internet public utility, but no. Somehow they're going to
my
add
libertarian
so much red
brain.
tape.
My libertarian brain won't allow that.
My whole thing of like, I am not anti-government, but more of like, I'd rather let them just be the referee here, not the provider of stuff.
Yeah.
Because at that point, government will become the only option.
Because they'll find some way to put red tape somewhere.
That's not good. It's just not good. Sorry.
We give Congress the discretion to grant franchises for the use of airwaves. Look at what they do.
Yeah.
Now, do we want to give that collection of monkeys access? Do we want them to be gatekeepers for an internet connection?
No, thank you.
Right.
No.
Nope.
I don't care if they're filled with good people. The fact is, that can change. And I don't want anyone with that power.
So at
even
the very
if it's a good person now,
least,
might be a bad person next.
I think what Norm is talking about is not government as an ISP or a government ISP option, but like a government subsidy on connection to the internet because of its being a necessity in this in this COVID world, right? Like,
Yeah, it's not post-COVID. It's still around.
yeah, it's still around.
Yeah.
So, like, in this COVID world, it'd be cool to have, like, say, a government subsidy on your internet bill. I think that's what Norm is. That's what Norm is alluding to here, as the quote unquote government option. So, like, an
It really
internet
wasn't,
stamp,
but you make a good
if
point.
you will. You know. Just go with it, man. Just go with it. Just go with it.
I agree. It's a good point, Joe.
That'd be really cool.
I mean,
though, like
access to the internet is basic human right at this point.
yeah.
But I would
Because-
say with the COVID environment, it's interesting how lots of new quote-unquote jobs have popped out. Like, I'm surprised how the game Animal Crossing has brought people lots of options for income.
Really?
Like the
designers?
simplest thing is, you can actually hire interior designers to come by and tell you and show you how to make your house better, or at least look prettier. Or the fact that you can actually design clothes in the game. This is just another way. Like, this is interesting. This is a weird new dynamic that's popping up because of games and other media. Where since I can't do this, I'll use my skills to do it other ways. I mean, right now we have every single aunt, uncle, cousin, brother, sister becoming streamers at this point and podcasters.
Yeah.
And quickly learn that most people don't know how to redo their own setups,
That's why it's a business. Setting up.
which makes you wonder: is there money in becoming a podcaster or being the tech support?
Actually, yeah, they're trying to do that now in the Philippines. There's the one that Norm and I've visited a few months back. They're trying to monetize a lot of things for a lot of podcasters who are like in the country right now in the Philippines. Like there's a Podmetrics thing. There's like this network of podcasters now.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I feel like those will not go ahead.
I'm not into that thing.
I mean,
like-
I see that they're trying to promise, but
It's
Yeah.
like that
Just
influencer network thing that they
Yeah. Yeah.
recently.
I mean, that just sounds like the updated, remember the
Blogger.
bloggers?
Yeah,
Now
it's
it's
like
just
that.
bloggers.
So it's gonna be like just not the 100%, just at least 5 at most, 5%, not even 5%, maybe just the 1% who's gonna get a lot of money.
I mean, that's pretty much real life. I mean, 99% of streamers and content creators, you're
Don't make
just in the either. You're in the ether. You're just not there for people. Sometimes
Yeah.
you pop up because you're lucky. Something amazing happened that got you viral, and you just have to run with it. But most of the time, it doesn't happen. You just kind of keep doing it. That's why lots of people say, make sure streaming is your hobby, not your livelihood. I mean, I
which
hear that
is
going
like-
around a lot now.
Like with this podcast, for example, right? Like all of us are gainfully employed, and this whole podcast thing is an excuse for me to talk to some of my closest friends, and it's always kind of been that. But there is nothing more than I would like than for all of us to be able to just quit our jobs and do stuff like podcasting and
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
streaming
That'd
and
be
all of that
amazing.
stuff on like as our full-time job, which ladies and gentlemen listening, you can do by helping us out on Patreon. Yeah, you see that?
it's only
As
like
we're winding up
57
the
minutes
episode,
in.
boom.
Yes, if you enjoy this content, please come to patreon.com and give us some support. Every little dollar makes a difference.
If you
Especially here in the
somehow
third world.
if you somehow made it to this point, you're practically entitled to giving us more money,
Your money.
right?
But that's also
Yes.
one thing that is interesting is with the jump of streaming, it does give like lots of people in developing countries, third worlds, an interesting option for actual livelihood. Because in first world countries, yeah, it's more likely better off a hobby. But when you see things like how much you can make off even Google AdSense for some places, that actually pays a number of bills for certain families. Surprising enough, in third worlds. Like, I was doing the math. If you were on Twitch and if you had about 150 subs, that's more than the standard job here will give you. It's kind of crazy. But if you do that in other countries, that's just pretty much your food at best.
So head over to patreon.com.
So yeah, give us some cash. Help us pay for things in this COVID world. We need our medicines.
By supporting
and
our
SAP
Patreon.
benefits.
And
Yes.
By supporting our Patreon, you're
term-
keeping me away from OnlyFans.
I don't know. Wait, is this dropping before August starts?
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm kind of excited because we're gonna have some new content by August. If they give us the date of when they want it out by August, just saying, just putting it out there.
And let's leave that as a cliffhanger.